Alrighty, it's 6 p.m. We're going to call the meeting to order. And the first we're doing is the public hearing on today. The purpose of the hearing is to provide a formal opportunity for council to receive public comments on the proposed amendment to the Digby Wellfield Area Municipal Planning Strategy and Land Use Bylaw. There is a background report by Chris Mellier for Site Group. Should we discuss it at all?
Everyone was emailed a copy of
Yes.
the report. Certainly up to council if anyone has any questions.
Was there
regarding
any,
the process.
I did not see any written submissions.
We received no written submissions.
And are you a verbal submission, sir? Okay, just making sure. Did anyone else hear anything in the negative or positive?
So do we have to have a motion for the second reading?
The motion for the reading would come
Will
during
take
the
council.
council meeting.
This is just the hearing.
We have a hearing first.
Next one?
So, should we wait a few minutes just in case?
I think if anyone was going to speak to it.
They
We
would
had a
have.
public meeting.
Yes.
And we had, I think,
3 people.
3 people attend.
Yep.
So this is a process that's been going on for a year, so it's just, there's no major changes, so I would suggest.
Since there is none, would someone move to adjourn the public hearing?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. So next, we will go into the council meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. The first thing is the adoption of the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry.
We need a
So
motion.
someone move it,
I
please.
move that we accept the agenda as presented.
Is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Next, could we pause to seek guidance, please? Okay, now we will have the reading of the mission statement to provide, promote, or facilitate municipal services that meet the community needs by preserving, supporting, and enhancing quality of life for all. Now, there is no presentations or delegation tonight. So the next is the minutes of September 28th. Is there any errors or omissions? And is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
You did say September 28th. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Old business or business arising. The first is the Digby Scallop Days Apple Blossom Funding, Princess Funding. You all received the email of the original letter that was sent out by Linda today. The cost is $3,000. You saw the breakdown. How does one feel? Jimmy?
I'd like to see us refer this to our budget process for next year. I don't feel that we would have the money in our budget for this year to entertain this, and
Okay, but they need an answer now because it's going on now, it's starting now.
oh, it is? Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Even though the money wouldn't be used to next year, they start doing the Ts and things.
all right, well then I'll put it this way then. We've been supporting Scallop Days for $3,000 for a number of years, and I fully support that. But to add another $3,000 to that cost, I think if we were going to fund Scallop Days, $3,000 would go to this rather than fund the program. Now that's why I think before we would do that, we would maybe want to have a talk with them to see how they feel about it, if that's how council feels.
Okay, how are people feeling?
I agree with Jimmy.
I was thinking maybe we could co-fund it with the town if they were willing to. I know they decided not to fund it at all, but if they were, we could co-partner with them possibly.
Okay.
See, I don't think they start their things yet. It's a
Will
little
we get
early.
the letter, I got the email from,
But they don't start the teas or anything. They don't nominate the girls or something.
they had I received an email from the Scallop Days,
Yeah?
and I sent it on to you, Linda, as well. Remember, she was saying they've already been asked?
They don't do any teas or anything, but I think they start their planning.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that I understand. They plan the year ahead. And I'm sure the Annapolis Blossom Festival Committee,
Well, they
probably need to know whether they're going to be part of it or not.
yeah. And maybe that, I'm just looking for the letter.
Could we just send them a letter saying that if we do,
I think we would have a meeting with them before we'd send a letter. I mean, that's back and forth too much.
okay.
Okay, Apple Blossom Festival follow-up. I'm just following up on a request sent to the municipality to take over sponsorships in the Apple Blossom Festival. We received an email from the organizers to attend their first meeting and are looking for each community representative to attend. I would like to send a reply to them as soon as possible, let them know if Digby will be attending. I understand that this is be discussed at your meeting. Could you please contact me as soon as council has made a decision? Digby Scallop Days will be available if required to respond to any questions that council may have. Cheryl Forrest, Chair, Digby Scallop Days. Oh, I'm sorry.
If there's any other discussion.
Oh, I saw, and I thought, I'm missing. Okay, go ahead, Linda.
Well, I just to try to get some information on this, I spoke to the CAO for the town, and it was the town of Digby that always provided the Digby Queen, and what they did was they paid you become a member of the Booster Club, so I don't know if it would be Scallop Days, that would then be the Booster Club, but they had indicated, the town had indicated, and I know when I was with the town, like quite a few years ago, they struggled with, the amount of money, so the town paid the $1,200 to the Booster Club. Then they also were asked by the Apple Blossom Festival to host the final, the Royal Tour. So, and the town organized that. So and that would be probably at least $1,000, and then gifts for the princesses, all the queens were another like $500. And then they always provided $500 to the queen's expenses. So when the town notified the Apple Blossom organizers that they no longer were going to participate, then I guess it was Scallop Days at that time said, well, they wanted to do it. So that's how Scallop Days got involved. So they were the ones that said that then they would do it. So,
But were not able to raise monies.
yeah,
So that's why they've come to us.
for the money, but I'm assuming that if, whatever funding, or if council does decide that there would be Scallop Days that would be doing taking care of that. As far as
Not us.
organizing the Royal Tour
Right.
and doing the floats and all that kind of stuff.
Have you attempted to raise money, when it comes to the council, about that?
Yes, they are still raising money to pay off last year.
This goes back, this is why I think maybe we need to have them come in and have a chat with them about it, because, community grant money, we give out so much. And we already contribute $3,000 to Scallop Days. And this is another ask for another $3,000.
Perhaps we could ask them to come in to one of our bylaw and policy meetings
Right.
soon
Soon,
and
yeah.
sit down and discuss it with them.
Right.
Yep.
So could I have a motion to that effect, please?
So moved.
Is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. So we will have a meeting with them. We'll all be there. We'll be able to ask questions. The next was the second and final reading to the Digby Wellfield Area Municipal Planning. Maritza?
I make a motion that we accept, would that be?
Do final reading of the.
Okay, final reading of the Digby Wellfield Area Municipal Planning Strategy and the Land Use Bylaw.
Is there a seconder? David?
No, sorry.
In case you're wondering why I'm using names, these have been on for the last year on this project as well as myself, and that's why. I mean, I'm getting them just because of that. Yeah. Now, is there any questions from the other council? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next was Meadow Carmen Jersey sponsorship, and I believe that discussion was that we would not sponsor that because it was
We referred it.
The request.
We were going to try to find out whether there
Oh,
was
okay.
any funding to that elite program that was set up a few
That's
years
right.
back.
Yeah, and what I did was I contacted Dean Kenley and provided the information to him, and then last week I followed up with Dean, and he said that they were able to provide some funding. I don't know if it's in sponsorship or whatever, but through the elite sports, that they were able to provide some funding.
Oh, good.
Okay, so we don't have to do anything. All right,
Should we follow up, or will he to?
he will do that.
Okay, just
Right.
wondering.
That's what the elite sponsorship.
When I spoke to Dean, he had indicated that he had talked to Meadow, like it was between those,
Yeah.
he
Okay,
already
yeah.
spoke to Meadow.
Okay, new business. Brenda Small, Marshalltown Alms House. I will say that Linda has also sent out a letter to TIR telling them about this request. Because the concern will be, how do we get into it? How do the highways beside it? Yes, Linda?
As a follow-up to my email, I had Gordon Wilson happened to be in the building today, so I spoke to him, and he indicated that he was going to talk to the engineers as well, that they're well aware of the situation. But typically, in the 101 series highway, if the highway bisects a property, that they always have to provide a service road. So he's going to follow up on that. But my recommendation is that this be forwarded to the Highway 101 Committee, and that we can bring it up when we have our next meeting.
So can we have a motion? Oh, sorry, Maritza.
Just that I had a conversation with Brenda today, and I asked her if she realized that the 101 was going through that, over that property, but that either side or one side was the cemetery, because when they first looked at the 101, they realized that there were graves there, and I said, so they've changed the design a couple times to make sure that they don't go there. And she has a really personal interest. Her grandmother actually was at the poor farm for quite a few years in the days when people with mental illness was just put somewhere, and she said she started an online petition or Facebook page about it, and she's had I think close to 300 people respond, and she's discovered there's 175 or more graves or people buried there. So I asked her if she'd be willing to come and make a presentation about it, or had she talked to Rob, because I knew Rob was part of that a few years ago, that he was involved in that when they knew that there were people buried there. And she said she'd be more than willing. So if we want to get some more
So we
information.
would get her to come to our committee meeting.
Yeah, I think she's very passionate about it, and she's done a lot of research, and she's been working on it for a while. So I think it would be good to have her come.
Okay, so can we have yes, George?
Has this area been identified where?
Yes, it's all
Yeah.
been
identified, yes.
and
Yes.
located and everything?
Yeah. So
You
can
know
I
who
have a
Brenda
motion?
Small is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So can I have a motion that we will refer this to the Highway 101 Committee?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded?
Did
So
we
do you
have that?
want her to do one to council too, as well as our Highway 101 Committee? I'm asking Maritza.
Whatever council thinks would be a good. Does all
Would it be-
council want to hear, or just Jimmy?
Well, my thoughts are that it should go to the 101 committee, and then from that committee, there may be something that will come back
Recommendations.
to us
Mhm.
later, but I think it should go to the committee level first.
Do
Okay.
we have a meeting soon?
I've requested, I think we had agreed that we would meet once the detailed design was
Design,
complete,
yeah.
so I had sent an email today just asking
When?
when that would be.
And then we can invite Brenda to that meeting.
Yeah.
So the letter was
She were-
for council to consider doing a memorial.
Yes.
But if we go to the 101 Committee to see, how, I think a memorial would be wonderful personally.
I do too, and I think considering there's 175 people buried there who have no names and no markers, and
Well, they have some names,
Some
don't
markers.
they? But they don't, no markers, but they
No,
have
but
some
names.
There's a
names.
list, there's a
Oh,
list
the
of
list of people that are
175
there.
where? Where's the
There's
list?
a list, actually, I have a copy of a list.
Oh, so you have a paper copy? It's not. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, she must have gotten that too, because
I
she
think
knew.
Rob gave it to me, so I know has been in
Yeah,
conversation
she's been
with
talking
Rob.
with Rob 2 or 3 times. She had good conversations with him. Okay.
Okay. The next is the Me to We funding request. And we were checking, and this is not a school program, so if it's not a school program, they're not eligible under our policy.
So this isn't going through the school then?
No, not the Me to We program.
They've done it before. It was-
Oh, yeah. Or through the school.
It's school students, but it's not through the
Yeah,
school.
I know, I believe we're trying to move it away from it because it just takes so much money out of the community for, since 6 kids, it's pretty small.
I can't understand how we can say it's not a school program. What's the
Because it's
definition of
not-
a school program?
Because it's done, usually, the individuals do it as a group. They're not involved with the school on this. It's done through their churches, it's done through, we've had Me to We requests before.
We've had meetings-
But it's a school support.
It's not, I don't think school, it's not a school-sponsored
It's
program.
not a school-sponsored program.
It's not?
We
I
give
don't
No.
money-
I don't
Okay.
think so.
Sure.
School kids go, but I don't think it's sponsored by.
Okay, no.
We've given money before to me, we passed.
If you want, what we can
But
do
they
is,
were done through the school.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a company I've discovered recently that does these sorts of things.
if you want, we can do a double check and make sure it is not a school. Can, Linda, we double check on that to make sure? Okay.
Yeah, I like that idea because there was a support piece to that letter from Krista
teacher,
Oswald,
right.
the teacher, and she's going as a chaperone, and she's a resource teacher for SMBA. So
Sounds
there's a
like-
little bit of, there sounds like a school connection of some type, but I don't know whether it's official.
It's just as a follow, yeah. Well, that's why we're going to check it out.
Right.
So, we will check that out. The next is a youth grant funding request from the Islands Consolidated. The letter just arrived today due to somebody not being well, mentioning no names. We sponsored the other girl for $250. The max that we're allowed to sponsor for this is $500. So we do have the other $250. If there's another child, we can't. That's all in the funding. So could I have someone, if the council agrees, to give the $250 on per policy?
I'd like to make a motion for $250 as well. She's definitely not, this would really help.
For both of them? So two?
We already gave
Already
$250
done.
Oh,
last,
the other one was, okay, I remember, yeah.
and this is the second one, but I said if there's a third one, it comes out of that $500 that we are giving.
Right.
Just making sure.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
May I ask, going back to the Me to We, if that is determined to be a school-sponsored program, could we then just, at that time, go forward and give the 250 without having to wait and come back to council?
I support it.
Yeah, I like
If
that.
it's school
Yeah.
sponsored.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I-
I know
Should we make the
okay, we can make that a tentative motion. Would someone like to move it that if it is a school-sponsored, that we would give the $250?
I'll move that.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Just to talk-
Oh, sorry.
But Linda will make the determination whether it is or isn't in the Fraser.
She's going to check it out.
I will
She'll let us
call
know.
the St. Mary's Bay Academy.
And they'll say yes or no.
Exactly.
I got it.
Yeah, because I know last year, the Me to We program, we didn't sponsor those girls because it wasn't school-funded.
Okay.
Digby
Yeah.
was from Digby one.
Yeah, one was Kevin, actually, the mother's a teacher. Kevin Dunn's wife, she teaches at
I thought it was the kids.
St. Mary's Bay
Oh, yeah,
Academy.
Lori.
I thought they lived-
Lori, that's her name.
But they only lived outside our border, is why we didn't, wasn't it?
No, she's in she's in Jimmy's district.
I can't remember.
A couple things.
There was her, and I'm trying to remember what the other girl's name was, but I know, because she spoke at church. And she was also Scholar Days Princess, and she spoke about it there, too, as well. Excellent, did an excellent job. She worked for the rec department this year. The next,
She was a good princess.
yes, she was a very good princess. The next is a letter to the Department of Health regarding Medibus. What we'd like to see, or I'd like to see, I shouldn't say we, then court and council can say no, that we would like to send a letter to the minister stating we do support Medibus. Medibus, for what its purpose is, I feel it's a support. I mean, it's there to help out in areas that need doctors, I mean, they're looking at right now doing 10 hours in Weymouth a week.
Still not a done deal then, in other words. It's not a done deal that that's going to happen?
No, they're coming. Yeah, that's a done deal. That is a done deal, yes.
Regarding the letter, they're asking to use our building to run a flu clinic.
Yes,
And would it be during our hours of operation?
yes.
Okay.
It's
Well,
from
one-
noon-
1 till 6.
And I will make sure I'm here to lock up if I have to.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we offer the building, our municipal office building, for the use of a flu clinic by the minibus organization.
Okay.
Second.
That's from our bylaw and policy meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. I'll make a motion that we send a letter of support for the Medibus to the minister. Is that what you want?
Yes.
Okay, I see where it-
Okay.
That's okay.
That's all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay, now I'm going to be the pain in the butt. The next is the meetings. And what I'm going to ask for is that we still meet on November the 30th and do not meet on December the 7th. What I did, I did my vacation to go to Tennessee. I was thinking we were meeting on the 30th, and I'm asking us, we still meet on the 30th, we just don't meet on December the 7th, we only meet on December the 14th, because then it's Christmas. So, could everyone be agreement that we do the bylaw and policy on the 30th instead of the 7th?
I was gonna go periwinkle on that day.
Oh, yeah. It'll be snowing.
I still want to go periwinkle.
It's fine with me.
Give them a break.
Fine with me.
Jimmy?
Yeah, I have no problem.
George?
Bylaw and policy?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
David?
No problem.
Okay.
So by law and policy, very good.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just lost all the meeting dates.
And no meeting.
No meeting on the 7th. That way, if you want to have a Christmas social and invite me, you can. Well, let me think about it.
Starts at 10 a.m. After the musical.
No, thank you.
Isn't the UNSM conference the 3rd to the 6th? Not the 4th?
The UNSM conference is November 3rd to the 6th.
Yeah.
Okay. The meeting dates again. October the 28th at, yes, dear?
They were right, they were driving up on the night of the 3rd, and it starts on the 4th in the morning. Am I right about that? Because that's how I was kind of planning on.
Yeah, I've got to be there for 3 o'clock on the 3rd, but I have a police
It's here
meeting.
that I'm driving up.
You do?
Hmm?
Okay, so I want to make sure.
That means you and I can't travel together then,
Why?
because I have that appointment at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, but it's in Halifax, isn't it?
Yeah. I know.
It's not that far away.
Okay, just making sure that.
I figure I'll have you there at 1:30. You'll go in and say, I'm here early.
Yeah, no, that doesn't happen. Sorry. Okay, yeah, all right.
I will tell them that we're en route, but I am the secretary, so they really would like me there. So,
Is that a police board thing?
and we have on October the 28th at 1 o'clock, the Weymouth Doctor Recruiting Committee. Myself and George will be here at 1 tomorrow, and we're going to meet in the municipal chamber
At 1 Wednesday.
Wednesday the 28th.
Yeah, okay.
What did I say?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow the 28th. Tomorrow the 28th. That's close.
Sure.
But instead of the municipal boardroom, it looks like we're going to be here in the chambers.
Fine.
On November the 2nd at 4:30 is the bylaw and policy. November the 4th to the 6th, the UNSM conference.
3rd, isn't it?
Well, I'm just going by what was written
But I
here.
think it's the 3rd, because that's
3rd to the
Tuesday.
6th, yeah.
I'm driving over the
I think it
Second.
starts that evening, yeah.
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 in the morning.
So we will all be there on the 3rd, whatever time you get there. November the 9th at 4:30 will be the committee of the whole. November the 16th will be bylaw and policy. November the 18th at 10 a.m. is the Digby Annapolis Development Corp. That is Councilor McAlpine and Tudor. November the 23rd, my daughter's birthday, is council at 6. November the 24th at 1 is the Digby Development Agency, the DDA. That is for a 3-hour thing, and that is for Gregory and McAlpine. And November the 30th now is a bylaw on policy at 4:30. Any questions?
I just want to reiterate that this is only the meetings that I'm aware of. You all sit on
Have
other
your own
committee
meetings.
members.
Yep.
Okay. So is there any questions to the CAO on any for updates on action items, capital projects, special projects or initiatives?
I just want to toss one thing out in
Yep.
regards to derelict boats. We had a boat, derelict boat wreck in the harbor in Freeport about 3 to 4 days after our meeting with the minister. Somebody took one boat out, put that boat was on the inside, took the outside boat out, moved the other boat out the side, put the boat back in, and then.
The derelict boat?
No, the one that was flying on the outside.
Okay.
Put it back in, and the fireman said at about 2 o'clock in the morning, he saw a small like that, went out, 5 minutes later, a really big.
Oh.
Yeah, so he didn't catch the first time, and police have been down checking it out, but that's what happens with derelict boats. It has cameras on that wharf, but they weren't working. So you got a derelict boat inside the enclosed area that was sound fire, wind could have changed, could have destroyed everyone's boats.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a real bad idea.
That was a stupid idea.
Yeah, it was. But that's the sort of stuff we're getting stuck with because of these derelict boats. People are like, oh, I don't got money. I don't, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Had a lien on it, and we also had about, I'd say a foot of grass growing on the deck. To give you an idea of what.
A foot of grass?
Yes, that's how long it's
Been there for
That's sad.
and there's more. There's more down there.
Oh,
It's just
they're all over. There's Sandy Cove,
there's gotta be something.
there's Weymouth, there's Little River.
What about, this is something, so I'm throwing this out for a second. It had a lien on it, couldn't leave on after the bank. There's a lien on it, like these boats, there must be something that can be done.
I have no idea.
Like, I never heard anyone mention that, but if they have a legal claim on it.
Then that should belong,
Responsibility.
I would think it then becomes the bank, yes? Yeah.
the bank will forego their interest.
Okay.
Not, they're just having experienced that
Yeah.
exact, they will look at the situation, and when that is brought to their attention, they will forego their interest.
All right, great.
Sorry, not better news.
I thought it was worse.
No, like I say, I asked the same question.
Do we have something we can open this one? My computer's gonna die. Thank you, Jeff, very much. Okay, is there any decisions or direction requests? The answer is no. Yes?
I have a question. Regarding the UNESCO sign that we're going to put out by the ferry terminal, it says that they need to have heavy equipment, which probably is a backhoe. But do we have any indication as to when they're going to install that sign? Is it going to be this year or in the spring? Or
I didn't get an indication of when it was going to be. I know the Digby Area the Digby Area Tourism Association, they recently lost their chair. She's indicated she's no longer going to be able to be their chair. So I think they're in a bit of a upheaval right now. So I believe that they're going to be having a meeting, I think sometime this week, to try to see what their next steps will be. But I did understand from Rob Percy that he was going to sort of take over this project. So I can find out if they're going to wait until the spring now and do it. I would think that would make more sense instead of having it all up there all winter. I'm not sure, but I can follow up.
okay. Regarding signage too, I know I should have mentioned it earlier, but I had a counselor from Annapolis come to see me a week ago regarding our welcome to Municipality of Digby sign that's in Annapolis County.
Yes, which we got permission.
Right. Well, this counselor's had people from his area raise issues as to why is that sign in there? Like it's almost 4 kilometers inside Annapolis County. And so he came to see me about it, and I told him we had approval from the council.
It made it easier for where they're going for us to hit it right on the Bear River Bridge. That's all.
See,
Well, I personally didn't support it going there in the first place because it wasn't in our county, and there could have been space on the other side of Bear River Bridge in the municipality that I think we probably could have put it up. But anyway, irregardless, he raised it at his council, and nothing happened at that time, but he came to see me and asked, a little bit of the history about it being there, and I said, well, we did ask permission to have it put there. And so, I'm just giving you a heads up that.
Well, I mean, if they want to pay the expenses for moving it, I have no
Sure.
problem with that. But
anyway,
I think after they gave us permission, that should be their cost if they want it moved.
Yeah, and I think and some of the background was with the location and with access points like TIR, that was probably one of the better places to put it, because you see the sign and then you look up and you can see Digby. I guess
Yeah.
that was
Well,
part of the, and I understand.
I understand that, but to me personally, and even from when we did it, I felt it should have been in the municipality. When you came across the Bear River Bridge, it could have been somewhere just past there, and
Well, there was a lot of places that we couldn't put it. It had to be before the Bear River Bridge, not after, because there was no place there that, so you're way, way down. Because you have that road access going there, you can't block off the road access. A little further on, you have that look-off.
there is no lookout.
Well, people pull off there and look off all the time.
Anyways, along that area, we could have put it, but anyways, I don't want to debate it tonight, but it's just, I just want to let you know that there's dissension in Annapolis County in regards to it.
I will call Reg.
Reg isn't the one that talked to me about it.
No, but I'm going to call the warden. It's right up here. I need to call him.
My apologies, no one ever phones me. I didn't even know that was my ring. That's how sure I was.
Okay. Now, the next is approval of September 25th payables of $633,410.24.
So moved.
Is there a seconder?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded. The income and expense report of September 2015. Any questions or concerns? Okay. Next is correspondence. Wharf Rat Rally, thank you. Lotteries Casino Corporation. Digby and Area Board of Trade September minutes. Digby and Area Board of Trade AGM October 2014 minutes. Digby County Exhibition, thank you. Auditor General of Nova Scotia and Novetta, am I saying that properly? Interpars? Okay. Any questions or concerns on correspondence? Hearing none, we will go to the policy and bylaw recommendations. To approve the open space trail funding policy.
So moved.
Is there a seconder?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded?
Do I have to read that out, right?
No.
Oh, it's a policy.
To approve the recommendation to match the amount of funding towards the senior safety budget that the town of Digby pays up to the amount of $15,000. Did we find it at the
Yeah,
town?
my question.
I haven't had a chance to ask the question, if they funded 13,000 or 15,000.
Okay.
I'll make that a motion.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Next is to approve the recommendation to hire a doctor recruiter for Weymouth.
Are we taking that off the table?
I'd just like to table it for,
Yeah.
So then we table it to committee of the whole. So does someone move that we table it to committee of the whole? I had a first and a second. I remember it's non-debatable. All in favor?
All right.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Committee of the whole recommendations, there is none.
There's one more.
Oh, sorry. To approve the recommendation that position of deputy CAO assume the role of returning officer.
So moved.
Municipal returning officer.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Is there a seconder?
I seconded you.
Oh. Any discussion? I'm sure, Jeff, you will do a good job. And if you don't, you will hear from us. But anyway, I'm saying that we're tormenting. I'm sure you will do, and as seems to be the change in the wave of how it's being done in all municipalities, it's probably a good thing. So on saying that, all in favor? Contrary minded, motion carried. As I said, there's no committee of the whole recommendations. The next is the advisory committee reports. Digby Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, Councillor Adams.
We haven't met since the last council.
Heritage Advisory Committee, Warden Gregory, Councillor Adams.
Early in October, we had the Provincial Heritage Conference here at the Pines. It was a huge success. We've heard nothing but positive comments on the speakers. They were very, very impressed with everyone with the tours, and I think everyone did a really good job describing our heritage sites when they went on the tours. And I would like to thank Rob for all the hard work. And I also would like to thank the staff, especially Nicole, who did the registration prior to the conference and during the conference, and we had to call her and came back and forth a few times. So, and the rest of the staff that supported Rob and Nicole getting the packages together. And that's it, I guess. Oh, and the Heritage Advisory Committee, they supported. We did the registration, and we welcomed the people at the reception on Wednesday night, and they went along as tour guides, so that they didn't get lost like they did in Pictou when the bus driver didn't have a clue where he was going.
And we had fun being a tour guide.
Yeah.
Are you going to request that we send from the Heritage Committee or from Council a thank you to Nicole for all her hard work?
I would like that, yes. Yes, thank you. And I did talk to Rob about Jarvis,
Yes,
make sure they got something.
yes, please.
'Cause he didn't give them
There's
any.
nothing.
No.
I've gone through it twice.
Yeah.
So she's making a motion that we send a thank you letter to Nicole. It's going to be from the Heritage Committee, right?
Yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you that you'll write that letter. The next is the Planning Advisory Committee, Warden Gregory, Councillor Adams, and Tudor. There has been no meeting, but we had our public hearing tonight. So everything has been going along fine. Been a year of hard work. I think the committee has done well, and after we finish this, we'll get on to the next one. Next is the Joint RCMP Advisory Board. We have not had a meeting since our last meeting. REMO Advisory Committee, Warden Gregory, Deputy Warden McAlpine.
Been no meeting.
Western Regional Housing Authority, nothing has come in. I know,
2 months in a row I've been trying.
I know. The Canada Legacy Society has not had a meeting since we've been meeting, but we're supposed to have one in November. We're just holding on to when.
Could you let me know when that happens?
Yes.
It might be, and also in regards to that, what is the process for somebody who wants to give a presentation? Do they give presentations to that in the project? I just,
You would have to call John,
the CAO?
Yes.
Okay.
Annapolis.
but to ask that.
Ferguson.
Ferguson, the CAO of Annapolis. But we are going to have a meeting, and it was supposed to be Digby. Our next meeting was to host. So we were going to have it at the Heritage Conference, but it didn't happen. And so, anyway, when it's hosting us, we're talking tea and coffee, and we're not talking a meal or anything. And like a fruit tray or whatever, very minimal. So as soon as I know about when we're having the meeting, I get an email asking me when I'd like it, and I said as soon as possible, because election's over, it's time to get on with it. Yeah.
We lost opportunity, thought we could have something for it very early in November.
Okay. The next is the Digby and Area Affordable and Supporting Housing Group. Councillor Tudor.
We got a meeting on the 3rd, and I also have another meeting that morning. I think I can get a little bit of the action before it comes.
Okay. And I believe they're going to be meeting at the convent?
Yes. I'll walk through. We're gonna walk through.
I'd like to do that.
You wanna come to-
Oh, no, I can't, but I'd like to.
I'm
no,
not too sure what the convent building is.
I haven't been in it since it was a convent. That's why I'd like to go.
You're thinking of being to another area?
I was thinking about becoming a nun and taking over the convent.
Priest, he's the priest.
The next is the Digby Annapolis Development Corporation, Deputy Warden McAlpine, Councillor Tudor.
We haven't met since last council. We have a meeting scheduled for November 18th.
Oh, okay. Digby Area Learning Association, Councilor Manzer, you have the Learning Grove September report, the Dalla June minutes, the CRC September report, the DCEC September report, and the Executive Director September report.
Yeah, and along with that stuff, the Youth Works program came to an end. Their
Youth
funding-
Works?
Youth Works, or WORX, WORX,
Oh, okay, yes.
came to an end. The funding finished back in June, early July, so they've been trying to find other sources of revenue for that program, because I think they said it served between 200 and 300 students last year, like with
How many?
advice or help.
How many?
Said 200 to 300.
Wow.
It was really successful
Yeah.
all around.
So it's,
Okay, Jeff?
I do think restoring funding to that program is one of the Liberal platform issues. It'll be interesting to see in the coming year if that is
I know they had a
restored.
meeting with Gordon just here recently, maybe a week or so ago. So they have a Dallas meeting on Wednesday, so I'll probably know more by then.
Are we talking federal or provincial?
I was talking federal.
I thought you
Yes.
were, yes.
Okay. But they did have a meeting with Gordon.
But that's, yeah.
So they were hoping, if not federally, then maybe provincially, they could
But if
get a little bit of money from a few different departments.
But if the new government has said that that's one of the things on their platform, that should be brought up at your meeting to make sure that they go ahead and check that out, because we have a whole new government
That's right.
that's supposed to be perfect. So
I'm
let's
sure
do
if-
it, guys.
If they've promised that, then I'm sure Charles or Mr. Musgrave will know about that.
But bring it up at your meeting.
Yep.
The next is the Digby Area Recreation Commission. Warden Gregory, Councilor Manzer, you have the June minutes, the August and September reports, September minutes, and October reports. Is there any questions or concerns? The biggest thing is, I would say, the little pool is going to be gone. They're going to cement it up. They're going to do something with it.
Gonna do cover
And they're
it in
gonna-
or fill it
And
in.
we're looking at a splash pad, which is apparently much more popular.
Just the way to go.
I personally can't visualize it in my head, even though they showed us pictures. It's not there for me. But it's very popular and safer. They have not, the town has still been too busy to come in and look for the other leak. So hopefully they'll do it before the ground freezes, because then we're going to be back into spring and into a bigger mess. Otherwise, the reports are there. Is there any questions on any of the reports? Okay. Digby Area Tourism Association, Councilor Manzer.
Yeah, we haven't had a meeting during the summer when everybody's busy, but there is supposed to be one coming up very shortly.
Okay. Digby Development Agency, Warden Gregory, Deputy Warden McAlpine. You have your August minutes and September minutes.
We met on
Excuse me.
October the 6th, so the last time the CDA met. We have another meeting scheduled for the 24th. Basically, we were talking about, we're going to get together and talk about next steps on what we can do locally to try to promote the title industry. And because the province has taken an initiative to take the title piece of work that the committee that was struck in Halifax, they're basically looking at a province-wide plan instead of looking at just helping us out here.
Is that the study group that you're on?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
haven't met for, it's been a while. But to be honest, I think there's some stuff that we can do locally that we can, at least cut out some red tape, so if the developer does want to come in, they'll just be able to set up, they can go to it. So it's a matter of possibly having zoning changed on land, so it's appropriate zone for the industry, and we can look at maybe environmental assessments on property. So, and actually ensuring that the land is going to be accessible for the use of a site. So there's a lot of local stuff we can do locally.
Would that be the PAC that would do that portion?
No.
No?
No, the land doesn't, it's not in the municipality, it's in the town.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Did we get minutes from the working group? Did they
Possibly.
take minutes?
Yeah, the DDA, yeah.
No, you're talking about the DDA.
I'm talking about the working group that you're sitting on from.
Oh.
I'm not sure there was any minutes for it, but
Okay.
I'll find out.
Kind of like to know what's going on.
Well, with that group, they've got a timeline with the industry and how it's gonna grow.
Yeah.
And, to me, like, what's gonna happen is when these two turbines get put in the water here, by, Cape Sharp Tidal, once they're in the water and they're operational, if they're successful, then I can see this being ramped up into being a commercial entity. But I think everybody's kind of waiting, it's a wait and see game right now. And, because if these turbines don't pan out, then it's just not gonna be feasible to spend a lot of money on infrastructure. The other thing is too, they've gotta be able to produce electricity at an affordable price where they can be competitive.
So when are these two turbines going in?
Well, their projected timeline was to have one in the fall and one in the spring, but I'm not sure exactly what the times are on them. So, talking to our MLA, he's gone up to the site where they're actually building them in Pictou. And, he's stated to me and to the group, the DDA, that, he felt that they still had a lot of work to do before they'd be ready to deploy, so,
Right, so it's not happening this fall.
well, unless they ramp it up very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, and also with the DDA, we're looking at, the industrial park lands on how we wanna go forward with the development of that. So, that's it.
Okay, the next is the Digby Harbor Port Association, Warden Gregory. You have the May minutes and reports, the June minutes, July minutes, August minutes. There was no meeting in September, and then the October report. Biggest thing is, everything is going along quite well. The gate is working. We have got to have it open, or the gate's going to be, they're going to close the gate from 4 to 10 during a week or so of lobster season. As it said, we are going to have a boat come in a few times a year, picking up pulp and stuff, which is really good, and scrap metal.
Again,
The-
what was the first one?
Pulp,
Pulp, yeah.
pulpwood, yeah,
There's been a pulp boat in for years.
yeah. So we're happy. It's only going to be, about 8 times a year for everything, but it's there. It's not from nothing. We also, we had success with our, oh my God, cruise ships. I couldn't think, I wanted to say Carnival, with our cruise ships, and they did well. The Blue Nose was a success as well. We have finished up the concrete on the side of the wharf that they wanted done. So the only thing he said, it's not as pleasing to the eye because they had to finish it in rough weather. So when they were trying to do it nice and smooth, they built like this. So it's sort of rough, but it was still well done. It's been checked. So that's really, we're doing well. We're keeping afloat. We are going to head to look for more federal money because we have more things that we need to do. So. Oh, yes, and we also have right now 103 boats. We cannot take on any more boats right now. We're overfull. Technically, it only holds 74 boats. I was going to say 82. 74.
Stacked on top of each other.
74 boats, but and what the concern is that we have some boats right now that are on the east side of the wharf, and they are good unless we get an easterly. They are good an easterly. We got to move them somehow onto the other side and work it. We have 6 more boats that we're looking at coming up. I don't know what's happening there. But those boats are the lobster boats from Area 36, and they're big boats.
So what's the long-range plan? Are they going to add another section?
Well, it's something we'd need funding for.
No, but
That's the long-range plan. We
Long-range
have to,
plan, but-
we thought we would be okay, and all we're doing is expanding. It's good. I mean, it's good for us, that you can say you're full, and, but,
At least the growth.
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We're, like I said, 103 boats. That's a lot of boats. Any questions or concerns? I'm really pleased. The committee's going along really, really well. The next is the Digby Library Committee, Deputy Warden McAlpine.
No meeting.
Digby Municipal Fire Association, Councilor Tudor. The August minutes are there. And I was just going to continue. And our meeting went to nearly 8 o'clock, and when I got there, they were getting ready to leave. So I couldn't be in two places at once, and I really had to be to dark first. But they knew.
Thank you. I wrote.
Yeah.
I said that your responsibility.
Yeah. But it just, George warned me what was going to happen. But
So she was getting down in the dark and we'd get down there
Oh,
and
George, okay,
they were
that-
just ready to leave, right?
And he was right. He was right. They were ready to leave. So I did not attend, but David, I will comment, David has been sick for a week, and he spread it to his children. So it shows he's not a very good parent. What can I say?
This day 8. It was 6 or 8 days.
So we'll just call him Sicky David. So David was concerned about the Fire Association meeting, but could not attend. Highway 101 Task Force, Warden Gregory and Councilor Adams. Linda's trying to set up a meeting now. The King's Transit Authority, there has been changes made at King's Transit. When I go up to the meeting, they're going to explain all the changes they have made, but we are no longer going to be doing our books in-house. The town of Berwick is going to be doing them. We have laid off staff. We laid off, from what I was told by Mr. Mark Pearl, was we laid off Dave, who is the transportation. Pardon? I would hope. Never mind. I'm going to back off because I was told at a meeting, but I wasn't at the meeting, or I was told we were going to be told everything at the meeting. So I'm sorry. There's been changes made. I can say that the stuff is gone. It's public record that has gone to the town of Berwick. Nobody, I don't remember anything else. Thank you for commenting. Next, now they've been so sweet. Open spaces, Councilor Manzer and Tudor.
We just did as you know, we confirmed the policy.
Paper on your desk. Oh, okay. Discussion about committee direction moving forward. I guess we discussed, what should be our priorities for our next meeting and what direction do we want to go and so on. Plan on reviewing action items from open space report one by one over the coming months. Today, they approved funding for 3 trails, Friends of Point Trim, Weymouth Waterfront Development, and Tiverton Central Grove Heritage Association. And some discussion on the benefits of a summer student and marketing of trails.
Didn't we do one from Freeport too? For the Freeport?
So we've only done 3 applications.
Okay. Any other things you want to tell us? Good information.
I guess that's about it.
The next is the Senior Safety Committee, Councilor Tudor, Deputy Warden McAlpine.
There was a meeting scheduled for this Thursday, the 29th, but the chair canceled the meeting to a further date in November. And he hasn't given us a date yet, so
Okay.
I don't know what the reason was for the cancellation, but we just got notice on it last week.
Okay, the next is the Shared Services Committee, Deputy Warden McAlpine, Councilors Adam and Tudor.
We haven't met since last council meeting. We have a meeting scheduled for later this month.
Okay. Transport declare, Councillor Manzer.
They had a meeting last Thursday, which was the same night as our banquet, recreation banquet at the Pine, so I didn't make it, but they did hire a manager 1st of September, and Clarendon is just kind of over the hill with her. He's just kind of, he's just more than pleased with her work and how things are working out, so he's on top of the world.
Nice to hear.
Sitting on top of the world, yeah. So.
Highview Terrace, Councillor Manzer.
We didn't have a meeting last month, and we have a meeting Wednesday, this coming Wednesday.
So do you meet now every other month or something? Because you
No.
don't seem to meet very often.
No, we didn't have a meeting in August, and then September,
Or June, or July.
no, we met in one of those months.
Oh.
A couple of
I just thought maybe you'd
No.
switched over to
It's been-
every
no,
other
it's been
month.
a couple of months. We haven't met for sure August and September, and July. I'm not sure we met in July.
And I thought you didn't
That's-
do one in May or
In the
June.
last 4 or 5 months, we've only met maybe once or twice.
Yeah. Okay. Upper Clemens Park Society, September minutes, Councillor Adams.
Highview, wasn't it?
No, that was just Highview we just discussed.
Oh, sorry. The minutes there for September, we had a meeting on October the 15th, and the final numbers aren't in for everything. They still have to they're still waiting for some money coming in for the SOE's fast passes but the numbers were up. Adventure Park was up, and the new tower, although it wasn't installed till August, it did pretty good, and they're hoping next year they can promote that. And they spent most of the money from ACOA. There's some things that'll be done in the spring. The flume needs to be relined and do some things, and that money from ACOA will go forward to the spring to do that work. I think they were quite happy with everything.
Great. Nice to hear.
Any questions?
I'd like to make a comment. I think the manager up there is just fantastic. All you hear is good, positive things about the park. The staff seem very pleased. You're not hearing anything negative, and I think we'd like to pass that on, please, because it's just.
He's got a lot of innovative ideas, and he's very concerned about saving money and how to do that.
And I think this year having counselors come and do that talk was fantastic.
The tour.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it was
For the
well.
stakeholders.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well worth. Police check. Warden Gregory, Deputy Warden McAlpine. There's the October meeting notes. I was not able to attend. Deputy Warden was not able to attend, but one of our staff was able to attend. Is there any highlight you'd like to bring up to our meeting?
No, I think I might turn it over to Jimmy for a minute. A lot of this meeting was discussing a waste check staff at the time had put together a report trying to explain some of the EPR program, the extended producer responsibility that the province has been considering. But I believe at the conference on Friday that discussion took maybe a different turn than staff at the waste check meeting were expecting.
Well, I attended on Friday the EPR session in Truro, and my personal feelings of it is it's not necessarily addressing the issues properly, and the fact is that they want to go after the industry to collect revenue off of packaging and paper and stuff like that, and the fact is instead of trying to get the industry to change the way they do things, like, maybe change the packaging. That wasn't even talked about, because they could put out packaging maybe that would be better for the environment, but instead of using plastic so much. But anyway, they're looking at going forward with this, and the province, the minister was there and made an announcement that if it goes forward, it'll be a full EPR program, not a partial one. And they were talking about the partial one would only take in so much, but the full one, the province is saying it's going to be full or none. So that's where they are with that. I look at this as being, from my point of view anyway, a Band-Aid solution to a problem that they look at right now. Because I look at the way that you should be handling waste in the future is through gasification, and they're not even talking about that. They had one sentence in the whole discussion up there about looking at alternative ways of handling the waste in the future, but they didn't really elaborate into it and talk about it. So I think that that's what they really should be having discussions on, and this would be a non-issue if they did.
Was this sponsored by the province? The
Uh,
conference?
No, UNSM actually is the one that hosted
UNSM.
this. And, I mean, it was good that they had it. It was good information provided, but to me, it's not going in the right direction. I think they could be looking at gasification. You wouldn't have to look at this stuff. So, I mean, they want to look at a recyclable stream, which takes stuff out of the landfills, and but now they want to look at generating more revenue, and they say like it's being done in other provinces across Canada, so that's their justification to want to try to implement it here. But they also noted too, Nova Scotia's got the highest cost for handling waste. Even we've got the best numbers in Canada, but we're paying a price for that. We're also paying a lot more money to handle waste than anybody else is. So they're looking at, I think, trying to look at other ways to generate revenue to help offset those costs somewhat. But we'll have to wait and see how it unfolds. And one positive thing is if you have a business and you're under a certain size, then you won't be impacted by these regulation changes. And it's mainly going to hit the bigger companies. So it's good because there's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of paperwork involved in handling the process that they're recommending going forward with. So I don't know. I've got mixed feelings about it personally. Jeff, did you get any more from when you were in Yarmouth?
No, that was mainly there's been a lot of debate, I think, behind the scenes between the RFB board and the province. This all stemmed out of the consultations they did last fall, was when some of this conversation started. And there's a couple of different models in the country where some of the models, industry looks after these programs 100% themselves. Some of them, it's the municipalities, and then some there's a split, there's cost sharing, there's all sorts of different models, and that's what they've had a really hard time coming to a consensus on. And I think that's one of the reasons they're still going to be taking some time. But like you said, their statement about that it's going to be a full program was a step forward, but I think they're going to be a while before this rolls out. It's a very complicated issue, and there's municipalities that have strong feelings. If you've invested in solid waste infrastructure, you have concerns if all of a sudden some of these large companies are going to say they're going to solve their problem themselves and contract with a company potentially based in Halifax. That wouldn't be very good for your solid waste cell you built for $2.5 million. So there's a lot of concerns around the province, so it's really being a challenging one to get consensus around. Other than that was the bulk of the waste check meeting, discussing the EPR program.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Jimmy. The next is the Western Counties Regional Library. Deputy Warden McAlpine, the June minutes are there.
Yes, we met on October the 1st. We had a board meeting. Summary from that meeting is we've got some issues with the building where the administration is held for Western Counties. It's in the same building as the library in Yarmouth. Downstairs in the basement, we have space down there to keep collections of older books, and we've had some issues with the building, heating, but also some mold issues, and it's created some problems with our inventory. So the executive director had been talking to the people running the branch, or the owners of the building, I should say, which is the Yarmouth Public Library's foundation. Anyways, it's a group. The province, the town, or the county. None of them own the building. It's a non-profit group that has it. Yarmouth Public Libraries and Museums. That's what it's called. And so Aaron hadn't been getting very far with talking to them, and nothing's been happening. So we wrote a letter to them expressing our concerns, and they got right back to us on it. And sounds like, and they've had a meeting with her, and it sounds like they're getting ready to remediate the problems and the issues with the building. So that's one positive thing. We also had made a motion and to purchase a new van. We had a van that needed to be replaced. It was 2006 and had quite a few miles on it, and it was getting to the point where it needed to be replaced. So we had in our reserves set aside monies to purchase a van, and we had put the ad out to all the car dealerships in Digby, Yarmouth, and Shelburne counties, and the successful bidder was Tuscan Ford. They're the ones that provided the van. And then also, one thing I raised, there's been a funding review on how the monies are going to come forward to the different library regions in the province. And this has been ongoing. And when I was at my last LBAN's board meeting in Halifax, when they had their conference up there, it came to light that there's possibilities that there's going to be some regions in the province that are going to be taking a negative hit, and we're one of them. But the fact is, they haven't publicized that document. It's not. They've said it's confidential. You're not allowed to see it. Oh yeah, this is crazy. And
How can it be confidential, and yet they're going to do something on the report that should be public?
what they want to do, this working committee, which was made up of representatives from libraries across the province, and also provincial librarian, Nova Scotia provincial librarian, and other people in the province. And they had stated that they were going to, this was confidential, and it didn't even go back to LBANs, it didn't go back to any of the library boards in the province or anything, but they're going to take it to the minister. Well, once you take something to a minister, it's final, once he's looked at it and approved it. So, to me, the whole process is flawed. So, this issue was raised to me by a representative from the Cape Breton Library Board, and because their representative that was on the steering committee was so upset about how things were unfolding, that person had mentioned it to the people at their library board, and that person raised that issue with me prior to the LBAN's meeting, and it's not going over well. It could potentially tear apart the whole organization, because what happened was when they got together to do the review, once they started the process, they were told there's not going to be any more provincial money. So you're taking your pot of money and you're going to try to mix it all up, and you're still going to have no losers. There's going to be winners and losers. And where we faced our biggest challenges is that we've had a declining population, and part of the funding formula in the past has always been tied to the population. So, but I haven't been able to see the review. I don't know how they're coming up with the numbers, what the numbers are, or anything. So
Is there a letter being sent from your library board
we
and
sent
from
a,
LBAN?
yeah. Oh, we sent a letter. We started raising a bit of a ruckus in the province on this already.
Well, who's the minister in charge of libraries?
Minister Tony Ince. So anyway, we sent a letter expressing our concerns about the process, and that I got a letter back from the province on that, and I wasn't satisfied really with what the intent was, and I'm waiting for the next LBAN board meeting, which is in November, and see what happens from there. But so, to me, I don't think it's fair on the, like, if the numbers change, they change, or whatever, and if they can explain to us why they change or how they can justify it, but for them not to even allow us to see that information, I have a problem with that. I've never heard of that before, because, I mean, whenever anything goes to a minister, it's final. That's it. That's the last. There's no going back from the minister back and for more consultation. It's for a final decision when it goes to the minister's table. That's the way I've always seen it in the past. So
That's surprising.
I wasn't too impressed with it. That would be it for that.
Okay, the next is the Western Regional Enterprise Network Liaison and Oversight Committee Deputy Warden McAlpine.
We met on the September the 29th. And we had a short meeting prior to the AGM for the Wren that was held at the Pines. And at the meeting, we approved the business plan for the Wren. That was about the extent of what we did for business. And also, I'd like to say that I was pleased to see how the Wren has actually been progressing, and I think we've actually are the leaders in the province when it comes to having an operational Wren in place, and having a staff person working out of our facility here too is nice to see. I think it's moving along pretty good.
Okay. The next is the Weymouth Doctor Recruiting Committee. Warden Gregory, Councillor Manzer. You have the April meeting notes. We met last month. The big concern, of course, is Dr. Westby is leaving at the end of October. We had the opportunity at the committee meeting to meet with the recruiter and talk to him of the different things. Also, there is going to be a public meeting on October the 29th, 7 p.m. at the Weymouth Elementary. Is it called Weymouth Elementary now? Weymouth Elementary School. There's been a lot of forces taking place outside, and until we know more, it's sort of up in the air.
Is everyone that was planning on attending being able to make it?
Yep. To the public meeting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think there'll be 4 representatives from the Nova Scotia Health Authority.
I was interested in the way the ad was worded for the meeting. It was quite general, almost vague. Like it did, just sort of talked about, I can't remember how it was, but when I read it, I thought, oh yeah, it's not really being specific. It just said about health services in southwest Nova Scotia, whatever it wasn't. Anyway, I thought that was rather interesting. Be interesting to see how what they say.
It's up on our Facebook, isn't it? Yeah. And also on our website.
And ads were placed, I think, in the Courier and
It's in
Claire
the
Shopper.
Courier and...
Yeah, and I sent something to Jeannie Nesbitt, too, because I know she has quite the network,
Mhm.
Weymouth.
And in November, there's going to be the goodbye to Dr. Westby at St. Mary's Bay Academy. Hope that we're all able to attend. Okay, the next is council district reports. Want to start?
I have nothing.
George?
I don't know, we were going to change it this
That's
month,
right,
so you
that's
don't
why
know, you don't want to know all the things we did, right?
Nope.
Well, as we discussed at the
Yeah.
committee, it's like things that you want to highlight that you've done over the past
Okay.
respecting your committee. We all,
Yeah, I guess,
respecting.
for my district would be the Stallings had, one of the descendants of the Stallings were at the historical building and filled it the first night, so was overflow, so they held another night, they had the second night. And the bicycle thing, the Tour de New France, was a big success, had more participants this year than last year.
David?
The MLA Gordon Wilson's been very helpful with setting up meetings with Transportation Infrastructure Renewal in regards to the Ferry Approaches project and bringing provincial funders and federal funders all together, and getting the Department of Transportation's been very cooperative, so I just throw that out there. The bog and the island's also going very well along with that. To hopefully be able to pass that on to the legacy soon. Internet tower is supposed to go up in Little River in November, and on the 29th, there's going to be a sign up just like they did in Freeport to get all the names together. And I had a good feeling about Colin Fraser becoming the MP, so I took him around to make sure that he was aware of areas of federal jurisdiction and local issues. And I had it for about 7 hours, so I was very pleased that he was able to get a chance to see those things that he would be able to impact upon. And I found him very easy, very pleasant, and genuine, and nice young guy.
Don't
just
push
started
it.
Politics hasn't been ruined yet. Like for example,
Hasn't been ruined.
me.
Next.
Very nice guy.
Now.
It's going to be something new. There's nothing new in what he's saying.
That was all new. That
No,
was
the
not
last,
in
the last piece going on and on about the MP.
It was not in my report. No.
How nice the MP is? No, it's not in mine either. Jimmy?
As far as for anything in the district, no, I have nothing to add.
Okay, for me, there's two things. Recreation conference, which we did not mention, was well attended, went over well. Pine Stay open those extra few days for it to happen. There was good seminars, there was good workshops, so that was very pleasing. And today I went to the Summit on Immigration, which you all know now that the province has applied for more people to come in. The biggest thing is what was said is it's communities. The province has no money, so it's up to us to do things, not the province. That was said by the minister. The minister? I'm shocked, yeah. That was part of my little highlights when I wrote comments. It was very well done. The discussion was brought in that we're always asked for highly skilled, highly skilled, highly skilled, and there's not always jobs for those highly skilled, highly skilled, highly skilled. There is places that need different ones. You know, we don't all have everything. But one of the things that was mentioned was what about our foreign workers? Is there ways to bring people in and become Canadian citizens with their families? Then their kids go to school, and they're Canadians, and they become better paying. We know by 2040 there will be 70,000 jobs needed in Nova Scotia, and they do not think over and above what the population can hold.
So do they got any sort of plan for making the purpose, the 7
Immigration.
workers? Just the regular stuff that's already in
Well,
place?
that was
So
the
I've had a
big
few
thing.
people talk to me about foreign workers.
The other
as a
thing is
source.
they're trying to keep 10% of the students, foreign students that come in, which is 1,000. There's 10,000 foreign students in our province. We are the We are the highest number of foreign students in our province from across Canada that come in. We have a very good program, but we're also talking about high school, not just university. And some of the concerns are brought up that the students are not finding it that easy to get in and the paperwork. They have going to a paperless system, and you can do it in French or English, and they think that will make it better instead of paper. So, there was some valid, good points. University of St. Anne's was there. I got to talk with them. Actually, they are going to set up a meeting with me. They'd like to discuss some things because they said they always talk to Warden LeBlanc and Warden D'Entremont, but they said, you were so close, why haven't we been talking to you? I said, well, yeah, you're part of the county. I mean, even though you're in Clare, you're still part of the county, which I thought was really great. So I'll be setting up a meeting, and maybe we can get to talk to the whole council. That's, I'm going to ask them when they that type of thing. Also, like the Minster stayed for the whole program from 8:30 to 1:30. We had great panelists come in and discuss different variances of immigration and why it's so important. One gentleman spoke up and he said, the problem is a lot of people feel the foreign worker is coming in and taking our jobs away. And they're saying, well, that is not true. It's supposed to be people who come in are for people that aren't being able to get that piece of the job covered. But he says you'll always have people think that. You're not going to change people's feelings. And there are many skilled workers they come in from immigration that cannot get jobs or working as taxi drivers, and we all know that.
No, they're on the PhD.
Yeah. They said, one speaker spoke and said we need to change our need of qualifications. Not that they shouldn't be qualified, but we should be accepting other qualifications and other occupations you know, from around, like, check out their credentials. But do we have to bring everyone in and make them rewrite exams and rewrite? And they said the LPN Association has brought in a system that they're bringing in nurses from other countries, and they're accepting their credentials. Now, they're still being checked to make sure they're fine, but they won an award for it. So things, I mean, I had no idea that was happening. So there is a lot, like I said, it was an excellent morning up there. It was busy and very interesting, and there's some papers that I'm going to get Pat to send around from the meeting from that. But is there any questions on it? Like I said, it was a good meeting. It was impressed. Like I said, we all know there's no money in the province. I mean, I thought, do we have to hear this again? But she was good. She did a good job. I mean, it's just, that was how she ended it, and it was sort of, everything had been so up, and she brought it sort of down. I don't think she realized what she did, you know, because she thought she was doing, I thought, start at the beginning and then go over everything else and how wonderful it is. Don't end it with that. But I mean, like I said, it was very well done. And the one thing the last speaker spoke of, he said, look around this room. Did we have any people really leave early? You know how people sneak out that last half hour or an hour? And, you know, there might have been 2 people gone. When you start looking around the room, it was like, oh my God, he's right. People did not leave, which I thought was a good thing. So those were my 2 highlights for the month. So we have got to go in camera, but before we go in camera, we will ask the question. Do you have any questions of us on anything we have talked about tonight? Well, I really appreciate you came. I hope that you enjoyed listening. No, I mean, seriously, we're glad to see people come in, because what a lot of people are doing, they're watching it on YouTube.
12 people.
13.
Streamed live.
A lot.
But still, it's
One in
stuff.
the gallery.
So, the next thing we're going to do, we are going to be going in camera. So, would someone like to move we go in camera? And then we will take a recess. Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we will recess for 5 minutes of Pat.
5 minutes.